So let's head to the courts. Maybe a number of these persons, the prophets are seeing things about me, want to challenge these things in court. But what does the law say about it? That one we'll have to subject it to the test. Captain, good morning.
Good morning, Lily. I'm taking you to the University of Ghana, and in fact, the University of Ghana Law School, and also the class of International Human Rights Student, class 2025. But I want to take your experience on this. Have you ever been in a classroom where you felt intimidated before?
Yes, probably when I was studying for my first degree. There was this female lecturer. She hated my guts. And you know, I like to wear heels.
Okay. Not
very long heels, but I like to wear heels. And maybe she didn't understand why I'd always walk into class, wearing heels. You know when you're wearing heels, when the whole class is quiet and you're walking,
you make that subtle noise. Sometimes it can be annoying, you know?
So, every now and then.
Sometimes it can be annoying,
you know,
yeah.
But, we
you still have to find your place and all of that. So, you know, as a lawyer, one thing that you always have to champion is human rights. The rights of people ought to be respected. People have to be given their right, the respect that they are due. And so if you go to the University of Ghana School of Law, the International Human Rights class 2025 have carried out a survey. In fact, they've been led by Professor Kojo Apieje-Etia, also a law professor. And in fact, some interesting outcomes came out from the research, and as you can see on your screens, some of the resource persons that they engaged by way of coming to engage them, coming to highlight on some of the things that as students they need to go through. And this whole, and that's Professor Raymond Atuguba on your screen. And this whole survey or research is to equip students, in fact, to fight against academic freedom. They make the point that, look, at some point in time, you are in the classroom and you note that the disparities in the classroom between the teacher, the lecturer, and the student, it's not balanced. The classroom or the lecture hall or lecture room is not democratic enough for people to be able to air their views, say whatever they want to say, because at some point in time, they feel intimidated at some point in time. So the students entered into a research backed by Professor Kojo Apieje-Etia, and then they came up with some outcome. And so last week, we were there to hear what they have to say by way of what their research has come out with, what they found, and how, if you're a law student or you're a student, you should be excited about this particular research that they have carried out and all of that. So we have been engaging Professor Kojo Apieje-Etia. Let's hear him on this subject.
We realize that when we talk about academic freedom, the place of students in it is very low. So we decided that they should organize a survey to determine the extent to which that is the case. And we also realized that because students' place in academic freedom equation is very low, it affects the relationship between them and lecturers, especially in the classroom. So we notice a power imbalance in the classroom, which embeds learners' oppression, actually. So the idea is that the classroom is not democratic. And what students learn in the classroom is what they take into the society when they graduate. So the idea is that if they get to know the extent of which the classroom environment is not democratic, the extent to which they are stifled from contributing to knowledge production or co-creation of knowledge. And then they can undertake some projects which will highlight that problem. And then we all come face to face with the reality and take steps to, change things for the better. So having done the research, having come up with the findings which establish what we have all been concerned about, then they are continue with a drama show that will highlight some of these weaknesses and how to address them. So that is basically what the whole project is about.
Professor Kojo Apieje Etia. He is a professor of international law, School of Law, University of Ghana, and regional director, African Coalition for Academic Freedom. So he's championing this, leading the students to come out with this survey. And of course, as you heard him, why this survey was necessary and all of that. And Lily, I know that when you find yourself in a classroom, there are some lectures that you do enjoy most. And there are some that anytime it is coming out, you're having issues about it. All is because of the kind of platform that you have.
Like that, my female lecture. Every time I had her course,
You are
I would
thinking.
dread that
You are
day. I
thinking.
would dread, why doesn't something happen? Why doesn't it rain? Something, earthquake.
It is well. I'm sure after watching this segment, your lecturer will have a change of heart and make sure that the classroom is so democratic for you and for the students and all of that. And it might not be coming from you alone. Some other students may share the same sentiment and all of that. We know that sometimes, we know the lecturers who, when they are coming for class, we pray that the time will go faster. And then we know those that we wish that they have the whole time to be able to engage. But let's ask again, are these student-driven? Are the students involved in this whole survey process? Let's hear from Professor Etia.
Definitely, yes. It's very important. That's why when we are designing this project, we leave it entirely to the students to plan it. So everything that you see there is student-led, student-planned. And that is very important because when they are not involved in the whole thing, when you plan things that you want them to implement, it doesn't bolster them to do the things that they want to do. So psychologically, they feel empowered about what they are doing. We just sat in the backdrop and said, hey, this is your thing, do it. And this is what they came up with, So I feel that they've been energized, they've been encouraged to do this, and it's certainly going to give them that psychological boost.
But the question is this not going to give the students much more opportunity to abuse the system, human rights issues, and all of that? Let's hear again, Professor Apieje.
The idea is that what we are teaching them to know about their rights, when you know your rights, you use constructive means. You realize that there are certain processes and channels that you have to use. So that constructive approach is to enable students to dialogue with their lecturers, to let them know where the gaps are, and then to enable the lecturers to also sit up and realize that there are problems. Then it's also important to realize that when lecturers' interests are well protected, it enables students to also perform better because lecturers will then come to the classroom better equipped, better prepared. So students also see that lecturers alone are not the problem. And lecturers also face certain problems. So by recognizing the challenges that lecturers face, it will help them to also help lecturers to be able to overcome some of their problems. And in that way, the lecturers will be more open to also help students deal with the interactions they have with them in the classroom.
The students will also have the interaction that happens within the classroom is enhanced and all of that. But the question that those who are watching probably will be asking, is this everywhere? Does it cut across all the university faculties? Let's hear from Professor Apieje.
It is limited to GHOne for now, but it's a pilot project that the African Coalition for Academic Freedom is doing across 8 African countries across in Africa. Yes, so it's going to expand from next year.
From next year, it is going to expand. But I know that in every activity that you carry, every project that you carry, it goes without challenges. So we have been exploring what are some of the challenges that this whole survey process went through. Let's hear from Professor Apieje again.
I wouldn't call it as challenge as such, but the students had to, they were planning their own thing. So they had to do a lot of back and forth, and it's a democratic environment. So they had to do a lot of back and forth before they finally agreed that these are the projects we want to do. Yes. And then when they also went out to the field, one thing they told me is that because about 50% of students don't know what academic freedom is, they've not been exposed to that before, it was difficult for them to really answer some of the questions that they wanted to ask. Yeah, so I think these are the 2 main challenges, if you can put it so, that the students expressed in their work.
Those are the two main challenges that he observed from having interaction with his students and all of that. So Professor Kojo Apieje Etia, Professor of International Law, School of Law, University of Ghana, and Regional Director, Africa Coalition for Academic Freedom. And Lily, the students themselves, those who were the main actors who were involved in this whole survey and all of that, they also came up with a drama to illustrate whatever they were trying to communicate. Okay. Let's hear from some of the students.
A chance to show academic freedom. Academic freedom talks about our freedom to express ourselves as students and also the faculty as lecturers, basically to showcase their knowledge without invitations from government, from officials, from anywhere at all. So this is a proud showcase from the University of Ghana School of Law Human Rights class about how academic freedom should be upheld both in our schools and outside, by government officials, by school authorities, and even among students themselves. Yeah,
to be excited about the fact that we are promoting their rights to academic freedom, and not just right to freedom of speech, right to freedom of movement. It goes beyond that. You can challenge and petition academic works by your lecturers, by your teachers, and by your peers. And so that's one of the main things you should be happy about when it comes to academic freedom.
We also decided to display it in a drama where we see the teachers who are willing to fight for students, and then because they are willing to fight for students, their rights are also being trampled on, and then some students were also sort of overstepping that freedom to fight for their academic rights, basically. So the drama was basically to bridge the two and then to find the balance between the two, basically. Yeah.
If we look at our panelists, we realize that they are people of high acumen. They're people who can influence change in Ghana and in the world, right? So hosting this, we understand that it's not a problem just one person is suffering with. Let's say if it happens to be sex for grades, it's not just somebody and he can't or she can't tell it to another person. Now by the forms, okay, it's happening to a lot of people. So there's this collective body, I can seek help here. There are these lecturers who are willing to stand up for me. Yes, and then with the guests, they can influence the change. So once they see the results of the research and the drama and everything that goes into this, I believe it will make the impact we're looking for.
Yes, so this is from the University of Ghana School of Law, 2025 class, International Human Rights Law. So that is basically what they have been saying. They said, look, the classroom must be democratic enough for students and lecturers to be able to engage and have that, because whatever outcome, whatever you churn out from the classroom is what goes out to the public. So we'll continue to engage them. We'll continue to explore some of these engagement with the universities and especially the law faculties. At this segment, it's purposely meant for legal issues and all of that. So that's all we'll have for you by way of court today, this morning.
All right, thank you very much. That's Captain with Court today. We head to the sports world.